Hello students, good morning. We are going to discuss the remaining points. How trade helps as an engine of growth or acts as an engine of growth. Okay. So in the last class we have seen 2 points, which are it helps us to increase exports and we get the foreign exchange reserves. As you increase exports, we are able to acquire more foreign exchange reserves, which will increase our GDP. Secondly, we have seen the import of technology and the other expertise helps us to utilize our own resources, and it will increase the production, and increase production means increase in GDP. Okay. And third point which we discussed today is import of commodities that are scarce. Okay. In two ways, it increases our welfare. GDP is also is for our own welfare. Okay. So what is that? When we import our commodities. Now, which other commodities do we really import from other countries? The commodities which we have scarce in our economy, right? Or which we produce at a very costly rate, and or we find difficult to produce, or we don't have production in our economy. For example, you take the example of this coal, petrol. Most of the petrol, the oil, we are importing from other countries, right? Especially the Arabian countries. So what does it mean? We don't have enough resources for that. It's scarce production in our economy, right? So if we import that commodities, what are we? We cannot even think of an economy without oil, petrol and diesel. Yes or no? So if we don't import, what is going to happen? We don't import, which means we are going to suffer severe problems in our production, right? No engine can function without oil, right? Petrol. So it's a very crucial resource as far as the economy is concerned. In the same way, there are different commodities which are scarce in our economy. So when we get that commodities, what happens? Our economy, our production will increase, or it helps the production of other commodities. For example, take the example of oil. Without oil, even industrial production we cannot think of industrial production. Neither agricultural production, especially when you use machines. This is a very important resource, right? So in the similar way, we can import those commodities which are scarce in our economies, and as a result of that, our production in our economy will improve. And not only that, when we import the finished products or the commodities from other countries, it also increases, as a result of increasing GDP, it increases the welfare of the people. We are able to get that commodity at a cheaper rate from other countries. If we produce in our countries, it will be very costly. So which means only a few people can afford those commodities. Whereas when you import that commodities from other countries, we are able to access it everybody. Our consumer basket, that means the basket which contains so many goods, that consumer basket will be full with so many lots of commodities, and that commodities also from other countries, or we will not be able to produce those many commodities within our economy. So whatever we are unable to produce, we are able to get it in our consumption baskets, and our consumption basket broadens. So the more you get, you feel happy, right? So that's called an economy. This happiness is called welfare. So we are able to get more commodities, and we are able to happily enjoy our life. Okay, so that is called in economics called welfare. So the material welfare it is. Okay, so we are able to acquire those commodities, and as a result of that, we can also increase the production of our commodities here, and also increase the consumption of those commodities in our countries, which if there is no international trade, it is impossible to get those commodities here. Okay, so this is called this is how the import of this sub commodities will increase the GDP in our country. Okay, then the fourth point is it controls, international trade controls violent fluctuations in prices. Now this is associated with this. What happens when a commodity is scarce in our economy? What happens automatically? See, take the example of any commodities. For example, you are familiar with agricultural commodities, right? When the agricultural commodities become scarce, last year we have experienced severe rise in the prices of onions, right? Or severe fall in the prices of what's it called, tomato, onion, etc. Also our country has witnessed. Farmers were throwing their products on the road because it has got no value, no money. Now these are called a hike in the prices. A hike in the price is called, a rise in the prices is called inflation, which means the prices of the commodities are shooting up. Whereas prices of the commodities in the economy is severe fall in the prices of the commodities called deflation. Especially we experience this, though it is not very well reflected in our inflation index, WPI. How do you measure inflation is using WPI, wholesale price index. It does not reflect it much, but still we know that whenever prices of the essential goods shoots up, what happens, the inflation occurs in our economy. Inflation is not good for our economy. Why? Because inflation reduces the value of money, and as a result of that, what happens, we need more money to get some commodities. So inflation will reduce our value of money. What do you mean that this value of money? The value of money is measured in terms how much goods and services you can command in the market with a given amount of money. Now when the prices of the commodities goes up, what happens? The money which is in your hands, the value of that money in your hands just falls. Why I say falls? Because when inflation occurs, you are not able to buy the same amount of commodities with the same amount of money which you had purchased before. Now you need to pay more amount of money to get the same amount of commodities which you were producing, which you were buying yesterday. What does it mean? The value of money falls. So inflation means situation where the value of money falls. So it affects what's called all consumers in the economy. What is deflation? Deflation means, so before that let me see. So inflation occurs when sometimes some commodities in our economies are scarce, maybe because of the shortage of raw materials, okay, or maybe because of the climate changes, maybe flood, natural calamities, etc. Right? So as a result of the agricultural commodities, even industrial commodities, suppose an earthquake happens, the industry in all the locality will be destroyed, right? So as a result of that industrial product, the prices will go up. So that time government can import those commodities and then reduce the fluctuations of the commodities. So it is a tool. International trade is used as a tool to control this inflation and deflation also. Deflation means prices of the commodities are falling severely. So what happens when the prices of commodities falling severely? The producers of that commodity faces a what's called a depression in their lives. Yes or no? Especially the farmers. So during those days also, government can collect these commodities or export these commodities if they have sufficient storage and then sufficient enough mechanism to export, store and then export. So inflation and deflation will create it's a problem for our economy. The economy will not grow during the times of inflation and deflation. At least during the time of inflation, you will see economy is growing, but it is only in terms of money, not in terms of production. So when the economy is facing this problem, no production but more money is there, which means it's a problem for the economy. So that time the government, if government can track where the real problem lies, then if it is due to scarcity, definitely government can resort to imports of the commodities that are scarce in the economy, and thus they can prevent the inflation or control the inflation. In the same way, deflation means the situation where the prices are falling, prices of the goods and services are falling. So that time what happens, maybe if it is due to plenty, prices are falling, suppose there's a glut in the economy, prices are falling. That time what they can do, they can collect the commodities, they can think of an increase in export of these commodities. That is what the European countries, they have done it. When they found that they are producing extra, their prices are falling, immediately they resort to export. Then the export, we get it as an import, right? So they resort to export of their commodities to different countries, especially Europe, Britain. You know that there are so many colonies for Britain, right? And colonial period, this is what exactly they were doing, because the use of new technology means they were able to produce more commodities than they wanted, they required. So as a result of that, they found that there is a surplus production in the economy. And this surplus production, what did they do? They wanted to somehow eliminate this surplus production. They cannot destroy it because it is already produced. So what will they do? They thought of making colonies in different countries, different continents. Britain had colonies, right? European colonies were there in different parts of the world. And what were they doing? They were exporting their commodities to different countries. How? In order to eliminate the excess production, so that their economy will grow. I heard that latest books produced by Shashi Tharoor, this says 100, 200 years, 150 years of exploitation of India by the Europe. So you can imagine, they didn't come, though they have started good works in our country, their main aim was to increase their national welfare, their GDP. So that is why they were exporting from our country. Being in our country, they were exporting our raw materials. They will go to the mother country, Europe, they make it as a finished product and then they will import that to our country. Right? So, finished products are imported from foreign country, the Europe, to our country, and our country, they used to export these raw materials, and then because they have better technology, better expertise, etc., they produce and import to all their colonies, and then that is how the colonies had to suffer. Though we got finished products, but it was at the cost of our raw materials, the exploitation of our resources. Okay, so that is a different topic. So what I am saying is inflation and deflation can be controlled through foreign trade. Okay, now you look at the last point. Last point is the maximum utilization of resources. Maximum utilization of resources. Now foreign trade helps us to use our resources help to utilize our resources in a more efficient manner. Okay. Now what do you mean by the efficient manner? Now labor in our country becomes efficient if we are able to get more help from other countries to improve my quality. Yes or no? Right? That is one way. That is a big point. This is. So suppose I do not know to produce certain commodities. I am struggling to produce it, or I take a long time to produce it. Why? Because I, as a person, a laborer in the living in the economy, in the domestic country, I lack help. Okay. So if the foreign country, somebody comes to me and say, okay, this is not the way to work. You can work this, you can finish this work within 2 hours instead of spending the whole day if you do this way. That's a help given to us. This is called for expertise. Okay. So when we have this expertise, we are able to utilize our resources well. That is labor resources. Now take the capital. When labor and labor, expertise labor and the capital is a man-made means of production. All the man-made instruments of production that are used for further production of goods and services is called capital. Okay, so all the machines, everything that we use that is used for further production is called a capital. So when we import capital from other countries, what happens? We can produce our commodities more, or it helps to efficient utilization of our resources, especially land. Mining, if the instruments get to mining, can be done easily, right? Most of the natural resources can be exploited if we have better capital. So you know that most of the developed economies, they are plenty, the capital is plenty for them. Yes or no? So they are able to, we are able to produce, or we are able to make use of our labor and capital when we get our capital, now when we are especially natural resources, we are able to make use of it well when we get more capital from other countries, right? Expertise from other countries, etc. So when you look into our country, even now in India, there are so much of underemployed resources are there, or unemployed resources are there. What now, when I say resources, you must understand resources in economics are four. The first class I have taught you: land, labor, capital and organization. Okay, so this land, in order to till the land, it is human resource, means you take long time. Agricultural production with the human power, it is time consuming. It's not that up to the mark. Efficiency is not that much. Whereas if we use machines, we can produce more, manpower can be reduced, and this manpower can be diverted to industry, and as a result of that, industry will develop, right? Now, land, labor, capital. Now, when we import capital, we can make use of the natural resources in a better way, human resources in a better way. We can think of different alternatives of other forms of labor, other work which humans can do here. As a result of that, there will be diversification, and we are able to do our work in an efficient manner. Then when we get foreign expertise, our entrepreneurs can function in a much better way. They will get more insights, right? So this is how the trade works as an engine of growth. So through the import of technology, import of capital and other technology, through the import of expertise, we are able to utilize our resources well, and unemployed resources can be utilized, so that when unemployed resources are utilized, our production will increase. When production increases, GDP also increases. Okay. So now what happens? So when the GDP increases, we can say that trade is helping as an engine of growth. Here trade works as an engine of growth, because international trade, because of international trade, we are able to do all these kind of things. Now I want you students to just think of an economy, a country like India without any foreign trade. Can we ever think of India without foreign trade? Isolated from all other countries? What will be the situation of India if India is isolated, means India has no relationship with the rest of the economies? What will be our growth? It is unimaginable, right? So we need other countries, we need the products of other countries, we need the expertise from other countries, as they need us also in some ways or the other. But we are, especially the developing countries, are badly in need of the help from other countries. Think of Africa and all. Africa, if somebody does not help them, they cannot grow. But the problem is here, each country is thinking of in the name of foreign trade. What we see is now the exploitation goes on. You look at America, China, what China is doing. China wants to spoil the economies through their different products. Okay, they have so many, the spy work is there here and there. So that is why now we have stopped all their apps, right? So many things they are doing. So these are all malpractices. But the free trade means is absolutely free from all restrictions, and it is that free trade concept is given by Adam Smith. He says if the economy is made complete, trade is completely made free, definitely there will be maximum utilization of our own resources. And what the country will do, each country will specializes in the production of that commodities which we can produce at a cheaper rate. Okay, so then when we concentrate on the production of those commodities we can produce at a cheaper rate, and then we can invest. Similar other countries also will do the same, and then we can import those commodities which we are able to produce here at a very costlier rate. Now what happens, each country can benefit from international trade because the consumer, we are able to get the commodity at a cheaper rate, and we are able to export the commodity also to the other countries at a cheaper rate. So the world production, because we are specializing now, we are not going to sit and concentrate on those commodities which we don't have any advantage in producing. I mean, we are not able to produce at a cheaper rates. We are not going to spend time on that. We are going to spend time on producing those commodities which we are able to produce at a cheaper rate. Every country will do the same, and as a result of that, the world production will increase because there is specialization. So through this specialization means we are concentrating, our labor is transferred for the production of those commodities which we are good in producing. Every country does that way. Does not the production increases, the world production increases? So when world production increases, it is beneficial for all the people of the world. Okay, so this is how trade acts as an engine of growth. Okay, students. So I'll try to give you some notes related to this, but definitely I'm sure you might have understood this. There are some more points are there. Now India was following a policy of inward looking policy till 1991. Till 1991, till there, India was following inward looking policy. What is inward looking policy? Let us concentrate on the production within our economy. Let us develop our infant industries. Infant industries means the industries which are just starting. It's at an infant stage. Let us concentrate to develop that. Let us not concentrate what is happening in the other countries. We are not at all bothered. And so because of concentrating the production within our economy, we should follow a policy. That's what inward looking policy, which means we restrict the trade from other countries. Restrict the trade from other countries through different tariffs, and also the two different quotas, import quotas, export quota also is there. So import quotas are there. So when you restrict import and export, we can promote, but we have to restrict our import. So similar, the other country also will have place some restrictions on import, right? So looking into how to promote our industries, our production within the economy is called an inward looking policy. And our country was following this policy till 1991. And they realized that we are losing so many things. Our economy is not growing as we expected. That's why I told you in 1991 India faced a serious, severe crisis with the balance of payment problem. India was about to crash Indian economy. And it was Manmohan Singh who has saved our economy, I will say, through his new policies of LPG, liberalization, privatization and globalization. Okay, through these policies, we followed so-called an outward looking policy, which means let us also benefit from other countries. Let us promote export and import. Let us promote competition within the economy. Let us promote more multinational companies in our country. So this is called outward looking policies, opening the economy for the other countries for their investment in our country. The same way, we are also open to, we also our producers, our entrepreneurs also can go abroad and start their own business, and then their industry will flourish and the money will come to us, right? So an outward looking policy, right? That is why that is what a policy that will promote international trade, so that international trade can work as an engine of growth. Through international trade we can improve our growth in the economy. Our GDP will increase. And from 1991 onwards, India started growing at a 2-digit rate, at least some years. Now only it is slightly declining. Okay students, so I stop here. I hope you understood. If you do not understand, you can just make a query, and you can put in the group also, and I can answer in the group as a whole, so that everybody will benefit out of it. Okay, so I wish you all the best.